So I was in the mood this week to mix things up and have him play a game. And after thinking about what game he should play for a total 15 seconds, I landed on The Sims 4. Why live life together when you can watch yourselves do all the life living for you in an equally goofy and expensive simulation?
This is like an aquarium of us. It's like an aquarium, but we're the fish.
In all seriousness, it's been a long time coming, and I finally made my boyfriend play The Sims. Every time my boyfriend asks me what game I want to play for the evening, Sims is always on my list. I love playing The Sims, and I also love watching him play it too. That is, when I can actually get him to play. We used to play a lot more back when we first got together. Like this one time, my boyfriend built an exact one-to-one replica of our 2 college apartments. And then he had my sim call his sim and had him come over so that they could both play Sims on their computer while we were playing Sims on my computer. It was super awesome and romantic. Anyways, most of the time we can't even make it through character creation, so these days he likes to dodge playing it. But every now and then I can pin him down with nowhere to run.
Alright, we're gonna splurge on the computer, but that's about it. We're gonna get a chair and then we're done.
If you know anything about The Sims, then you probably know that it's known for having 101 different add-ons and expansions. There are expansion packs, game packs, and stuff packs. The problem is that I'm a sucker for more clothing and furniture options, and it doesn't help that they are always releasing more. I'm really lucky that I've got him to reel me in, because I just can't help but have my eyes go wide when I look at the catalog. All of this is to say that his game is mostly vanilla with the exception of cats and dogs.
Oh, we didn't buy any cat stuff. Okay, hold on a second.
Character creation is one of 2 things I love to do in The Sims. The other is designing houses. Needless to say, I was really looking forward to seeing him tackle his own character creation because he never stops complaining about mine.
My girlfriend plays a little different than I do.
Okay, I guess we'll go with this one. I don't like that outfit as much, but whatever.
But it also meant we had to go through another grueling session of Soul's character creation. Elden Ring has completely usurped The Sims as her go-to character creator.
He's still scarred from the first time we played Sims together because he ended up falling asleep while I was designing my character. I don't remember what part I was at, but what I do remember was him waking up to me yelling at the cat for jumping off the desk and hitting the PC's power button on his way down. To this day, I blame that for why I'm so OCD about saving.
Speaking of, I need to save. I have not saved. Taryn would kill me if she knew I hadn't saved in like 3 hours.
Making a Sims household is a time-consuming process, and they really hold you hostage because there's so much to do and you can't go back in and edit things later.
I've been through this before, thank you, but I know what I'm doing.
I would play a lot more often, but it's a big time investment, and these days I never seem to have enough time to go around. Picking out unique outfits for every member of the household to wear for all occasions is already a tall order, but in my hands, the pace slows to a crawl. For all his teasing, he finally got a taste of his own medicine because designing me and our cat wasn't something he wanted to screw up.
Let the record show it is currently 5:25 in the morning, and I am playing The Sims before work with the hope of getting through character creator before Taryn wakes up. I think it's going to be easier to start with the cat. We're looking for a Bombay Black. He's got one of these, but he doesn't wear it every day. No, we're happy. This is Jack. Okay, so that's the easy character out of the way. We may as well do the hardest one next. Let's find a Taryn hair. First of all, we need to be blonde. This is one of those situations I would ask her what she wants. I feel like we're fine. We're overthinking it. We gotta get out of here. Taryn wouldn't wear a hat. She would wear earrings though. Yeah. I've done enough Valentine's Day shopping to know that we want to go with silver instead of gold. Okay, now we gotta do this. So I feel like I need to just pick an outfit that Taryn likes and then go for that outfit, you know? Is there not a top, like a sleeveless top that is not neon green in this entire catalog? Oh my god, this is impossible. I still have to do myself? Holy shit. Those look so weird without a belt. Is it just me, or does that look really weird without a belt? Can you, like, where's belts? Let's give her a belt. These are rings. Those are like belts for your fingers. Let's see here. What was Taryn wearing this weekend? Think. Use your brain. The problem was we weren't looking at her feet. We can give her the black Uggs. Yeah, okay, she's rocking the blackout boots. I like this. This is gonna work. Let's move on. Oh my god, this is an important one though. We need to get this right. I feel like every nail needs to be a different color. And here I was thinking doing this without her would be easier, but now I'm like second guessing every decision because I want to get it right. Come in and I'll show you what I've been working on. I'm glad you're here because I actually really need your help.
You started without me? What the hell? This is like my favorite part! It seems like the unspoken rule of The Sims is that the hardest person to make is always yourself. At least that's how it's always been in my experience. In his case, I don't know if it was necessarily that it was hard for him to design himself, or that it was hard for him to design himself with me hovering over his shoulder.
This is the baby.
Oh, he's perfect!
So then I was working on you, and it was like everything wasn't quite perfect. But anyways, this is what I came up with so far.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep the ponytail now that I have the
that's super
outfit.
cute.
Cause this is like when we went to Williams and Sonoma the other day.
Yes.
This is kind of how you were dressed. In my head.
Having tapped out from designing 5 different types of makeup for 5 different kinds of tarnies, I threw him a bone and designed his sim for him. Mostly because watching him made me really want to play too.
Okay. Cute.
When it came to picking the traits for our characters, I think the first major rift between our two playstyles came into view. Where I've always picked them based on how closely they resemble our honest personalities, he actually knows what they do and how they affect gameplay. Having not made it to the actual simulation part of the game in years, most of the traits are just flavor text to me. In the end, he decided to let me pick them the way I wanted, because it would be more chaotic and fun. I thought they lined up with our personalities and represented us pretty well, but I could already see the Machiavellian gears turning in his head as he started building a strategy to min-max my decisions to all hell.
This is like social engineering at its finest, right?
After making it through the creator, it's time to move the family into their new home. I should point out that this is the place where his method of playing The Sims and my method diverge from each other. I live by the rosebud and will die by the rosebud. When I get to this screen, I usually hit the pause button and fill up on simoleons before building a dream house that will never get finished. But he had other plans.
First thing we're gonna do is pause. Otherwise they're gonna start wetting themselves.
Not only was he planning to finish said dream house, but he was going to completely shatter my worldview and do it without the help of Charles Foster Kane.
We are alone now, which means now we can enact the master plan.
Having a master plan is fun and all, but life loves getting in the way. You see, life imitates art, and The Sims imitates life. They're not a carbon copy of who we are, but it's crazy how often the character dynamics line up with our own, for better or for worse. Which is to say, it wasn't gonna be the walk in the park you thought it would.
This is the part where Terrence's jealous. Oh my god! She's so good.
I remember coming home from work the first day and was like, "Did you have fun?" Thinking it was an innocent question. But then I didn't speak again for the next 30 minutes as he relayed all the pressures of sim life on me all at once.
Excuse me, are you just gonna waltz into my home? Who are you? Dude, I have work in like less than an hour. I have work in 1 minute.
We've got bills to pay, vet appointments, and women trying to hit on him, to name a few.
Are you free to come over right now? I'm telling you, summer holiday is a home wrecker. I must have said it at least a dozen times this evening. She's trying to instigate something.
There's always something that's going wrong or a problem that needs solving, but never enough hands for the job. Yet he explained he somehow felt the most relieved when a sim would leave for work because it was one less needy dumpster fire to worry about.
You gotta stop thinking about this summer, girl. You're gonna get us both into trouble if you keep doing that.
The biggest obstacle he was running into was getting distracted from his main mission.
We need something to kind of like balance the room, you know what I'm saying? Because we've got like the book, and then we've got this sort of like wine photo, like painting. So we need a painting that isn't too loud. We don't want it to like steal attention. This could work actually, like a boat. Oh, that's huge. Okay, that's not gonna work.
As much as he wanted to work on his main goal, a huge chunk of the time got eaten up putting out fires.
He's in such a good mood by comparison.
At the same time, it was easy for him to get tunnel vision and let the house fall apart while he worked The Sims through the night.
Taryn, I know you're mad, but could we yell at the cat?
The real challenge was finding a balance of staying on task and not running out of money to keep the lights on for another week.
What just happened? The mail? Oh no. Holy bills. Okay. Let's pay the bills. That, we almost didn't have enough to pay it. We were, well, actually, no, that's not true because we have plenty of grapes. Yeah, the grapes pretty much cover the bill, which is huge. I think we need more grapes.
On top of all of that, the Sims are people, not robots. At least to me, they aren't.
I don't know what the hell he's in a bad mood about. I mean, other than the fact that the house is an absolute wreck, but we're working on it.
He may look at them as disagreeable lines of code, but that's not going to change the fact that they have their own agenda as well. Money can buy you happiness in The Sims, but depending on how you get it, you might be committing several human rights violations.
That is like the third time you have collapsed in the middle of the room. There is a bed.
They aren't just machines that will do your bidding, no questions asked.
Okay, we need to get those tomatoes too. Oh, are you pissed? She was angry. Did you see that? What were you angry about?
Especially if they feel like their voice isn't being heard.
We are being a little abusive to our Sims.
Don't even get him started on the cat. Not only does the cat have needs and cost money, but on top of it all, he contributes nothing to the household. In fact, he only makes things harder because the Sims are constantly spending money on torn up furniture and cleaning up after him.
Any dog under 50 pounds is a cat, and cats are pointless.
All we get out of the deal is the ability to pet him, which he admits is worth it. Even still, those vet appointments add up, so I'm curious if it would kill the cat to try not getting sick.
Holy shit, this is always how it goes, isn't it? Then they want you to spend money. He has Sizzle Paw. Oh god, okay, we'll just do the basic treatment. We're kind of nickel and diming it here because we're trying to save up for a rocket ship. He's wearing a little cone!
It's one thing to want the Sims to do something, but it's another to actually get them to go and do it. Just the act of coexisting with each other is a task in and of itself. Getting them to cooperate didn't just require metagaming, it required facing all our dirty laundry head on. Fortunately, he doesn't have the laundry day stuff pack, so there wasn't any literal laundry to deal with, but these two still have their fair share of issues.
Alright, he's off to work. Taryn's in a pretty good mood. Let's go back into space.
For starters, there's only one bathroom, and he didn't have the budget to add a second one. It's a godsend that these Sims are already in a relationship, otherwise he'd be unable to get ready for work before my lady finished her shower.
What's the matter with Taryn? You can go to the restroom, you know, no one's in there.
The last thing we need is the two of them acting more embarrassing than they already are.
We left the baby at home, so we're gonna have to go home and feed him. I get that you're confident, but dude, your hygiene, holy shit. Is there a shower at the park? I guess that would be weird, wouldn't it?
That's when I learned from him that the Sims can literally die of embarrassment. Before this, I didn't even know that they could die. He better be careful with those two.
Well, there goes my girlfriend. It's finally just me and the cat again.
True to form, my Sim's most iconic characteristic is wearing her pajamas well into afternoon on weekends and sleeping on any available human-sized surfaces.
It's a very slow morning for Taryn.
I guess you could say he's living with two cats.
And cats are pointless.
On the flip side of that, you've got him who's working two jobs, one from home, and desperately trying to clean the clutter left behind in my wake, which hits a little too close to home for my tastes.
Look at this, he's uncomfortable because of all the dirty dishes that were out. Now, I don't know about you, but that seems weirdly similar to this morning.
I feel so called out.
To give you guys a little context, I love drinking tea, and he isn't as big of a fan of my mug collection as I am. I swear the game is trying to split us apart, as it seems like my character brews an entire pot of coffee, sits down and takes one sip before getting up and grabbing a fresh mug. I'd say it's his fault for trying to micromanage my Sim and not just letting her enjoy her drink, but when it happens this often, the evidence is pretty damning.
There are 3 mugs on the table.
I feel called out.
And she's grabbing another mug.
It was a godsend for him when the tea machine eventually broke, because he was finally able to put Tarny to work doing literally anything else.
I swear that tea dispenser breaking was the best thing that ever happened for this household.
The reason he was so hell-bent on tea in the first place was because it gives the Sims different moodlets. This is where the min-maxing comes in.
Yeah, so you can't help but be inspired when you're sitting in this corner because these things have an emotional aura, so inspiration's really good for writing. If you want to do like programming or something, you might want focus, but oh my god, the fridge is broken? How does this keep happening?
So basically, from my understanding, the moodlets can buff certain activities and skills that the Sims work on. You want to have the right emotion for whatever they're doing, and the higher the better. So he would make his Sim super inspired with a thoughtful shower and some creative artwork before sitting him down to crank out a quick novel before bed.
Alright, you can go right. Pretty much right until you pass out.
Back when I picked out the characteristics, I made both of them romantic because I thought it would fit the theme of his playthrough. But little did I know, that meant the two would randomly get flirty just by walking past each other. I can't tell you how many times he'd carefully organize all the inspired or focused moodlets for his Sim before sending him to work, before it all came crashing down when mine walked past in her pajamas carrying a bowl of cereal and made him switch to flirty.
He's off to work. And he's going to work flirty, of course.
The good news is, his Sim's career had very little to do with his master plan. In fact, it literally had nothing to do with it. It was just a way to pay the bills.
It's like the theme here is just Taryn is always in a horrible mood and I'm always like having a great time.
That gets us to the real meat of his plan, fruit. I don't know who figured this out or how he knew to do this, but he essentially became an exotic fruit vendor as a side gig turned produce empire. I laughed in his face the first couple nights when he was literally paying his bills with grapes, but he took his horticulturist skills out of this world and blew my mind with his extraterrestrial money scheme.
How much do you think this is worth? Oh my god. Look at the bottom there. Yeah.
So basically, while he was off working as a writer, my Sim was at home talking to plants and stealing tomatoes in order to become some kind of fruit scientist.
Harvest all. We did it. We've successfully stolen vegetables, and we only had to wet ourselves like 3 times.
After being sent into space to recover an unidentified fruit object, my Sim returned home with all the pieces he needed to put his plan into action. And here I was thinking this game was just a character and house designer.
Hey, assistant to the regional manager. Look at that. Look at your new outfit. You're dressed like Dwight.
Oh my gosh, I am. That frilly is gone.
Yeah, that is a atrocious uniform they're making you wear.
After putting in all that work to make bank, the only thing left to do was blow it on cool furniture, and I'm an expert at that.
I like how I spend all the time making the money and then you micromanage how we spend. Like,
It's not lost on me that I'm basically hijacking the literal fruits of his labor, but it was really fun getting to sit down and build a dream house together as a simple what if. I know that it's only a game, but seeing the two of them make things work when they have an incredibly impatient higher power ordering them around makes me smile.
are you swimming in our koi pond? Wow, okay.
At the very least, it's fun getting a glimpse of all our possible futures while our Sims expedite our descent into cranky people who yell at kids to get off our lawn.
Hey, we got a promotion. Why is this kid always just on our porch?
I'm not sure I'm quite ready to hang up one of those live, laugh, and love signs, but at least I can say I know how it'll look above his armchair. I mean, if I can spend the rest of my days growing space fruit in my backyard, then what exactly is there to complain about?